The relationship between Israel and Iran is deeply troubled. For decades, these two nations have been locked in a cycle of hostility and suspicion, with each side viewing the other as a significant threat to its national security and regional influence. It is marked by mistrust, animosity, and the constant threat of open conflict. The streets of both countries often see protests filled with anti-Israel or anti-Iran sentiments, reflecting the deep-seated enmity that has become a part of their national psyches. While the two nations were once allies, the 1979 Iranian Revolution dramatically shifted the dynamics. Before this pivotal event, Iran and Israel had a cooperative relationship, sharing economic and military ties that benefited both nations. The Islamic Republic of Iran emerged with a staunchly anti-Israel stance. Ayatollah Khomeini's rise to power brought a new ideological fervor that painted Israel as a primary adversary, fundamentally altering the geopolitical landscape of the region. This has created a volatile situation in the Middle East, with both countries often on the brink of war. Military posturing and frequent skirmishes have become the norm, with each side preparing for the possibility of a larger conflict. The core of the tension lies in their diametrically opposed ideologies and strategic interests. Israel, a democratic state with a significant Jewish population, and Iran, an Islamic republic with a revolutionary zeal, find themselves at odds on almost every front. Israel views Iran as an existential threat, while Iran sees Israel as an illegitimate entity. This mutual perception of threat has led to an arms race, with both nations investing heavily in military capabilities to counter each other. This fundamental disagreement fuels a constant atmosphere of suspicion and hostility. Intelligence operations and espionage have become key tools in their ongoing struggle, with each side seeking to undermine the other through covert means. Adding to the complexity is the rivalry for regional dominance, with both nations striving for influence in the Middle East. This competition extends beyond their borders, affecting neighboring countries and shaping alliances and enmities across the region. This complex and precarious relationship has implications beyond the two countries. The international community watches closely, as any escalation could have far-reaching consequences, potentially drawing in global powers and destabilizing the entire region. The standoff impacts regional stability and has the potential to draw in global powers, raising the stakes of the conflict significantly. The presence of foreign military forces in the Persian Gulf and the involvement of international alliances underscore the global dimension of this rivalry. It's a situation that demands careful consideration and understanding to navigate the path towards a peaceful resolution. Diplomatic efforts and peace initiatives are crucial as the world hopes for a future where these two nations can coexist without the shadow of war looming over them. At the heart of Israel's anxieties lies Iran's nuclear program. This program has been a focal point of international scrutiny and debate for years, with many nations expressing concern over its potential military dimensions. While Iran maintains its peaceful intentions, Israel remains unconvinced. Iranian officials have repeatedly stated that their nuclear ambitions are solely for energy and medical purposes, yet Israel and its allies suspect otherwise. They fear Iran aims to develop nuclear weapons, posing a direct threat to their existence. The potential for Iran to become a nuclear-armed state is seen as a game-changer in the balance of power in the Middle East. This fear is rooted in the rhetoric of Iranian leaders who have called for Israel's destruction. Such statements have only heightened Israel's sense of urgency and vulnerability. Israel, the only nuclear power in the Middle East, considers a nuclear-armed Iran unacceptable. The existence of Israel's own nuclear arsenal, though never officially confirmed, is an open secret and serves as a deterrent against regional threats. They believe such a scenario would destabilize the entire region and trigger a nuclear arms race. The prospect of multiple countries in the Middle East pursuing nuclear weapons is a nightmare for global security. This fear is further compounded by Iran's support for groups like Hezbollah, which Israel considers terrorist organizations. Hezbollah's presence in Lebanon and its history of conflict with Israel add another layer of complexity to the situation. The possibility of these groups gaining access to nuclear capabilities is a nightmare scenario for Israel. The thought of non-state actors wielding such destructive power is a chilling prospect. Israel has repeatedly stated it will not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons. This firm stance is echoed in the speeches of Israeli leaders and is a cornerstone of their national security policy. They have hinted at preemptive strikes to prevent such an outcome. The Israeli military has conducted numerous drills and simulations to prepare for potential scenarios involving Iran's nuclear facilities. This stance keeps the region on edge, with any miscalculation potentially leading to a devastating conflict. The high stakes involved mean that even minor incidents can escalate quickly. The nuclear issue remains the most significant stumbling block in any attempt to ease tensions between the two countries. Diplomatic efforts have been made, but progress is slow and fraught with setbacks. The international community continues to watch closely, hoping for a peaceful resolution to this high-stakes standoff. Iran's influence extends far beyond its borders. It has cultivated a network of allies and proxies across the Middle East, challenging Israel's regional standing. This axis of resistance, as Iran terms it, includes groups like Hezbollah in Lebanon and Hamas in Gaza. These groups, armed and funded by Iran, pose a significant security threat to Israel. They engage in frequent clashes with Israeli forces, launching rockets and carrying out attacks. Israel views Iran's support for these groups as a deliberate strategy to keep it off balance and undermine its security. Beyond direct confrontation, Iran's influence also plays out in the political arena. They support allied governments in Syria and Iraq, increasing their influence in these countries. This expanding influence worries Israel as it challenges their regional dominance and creates a network of hostile forces around them. The battle for influence in the Middle East is multifaceted, with Iran proving to be a formidable player. Section 4. The challenges of direct action. Why Israel hesitates. While Israel has contemplated military action against Iran, such a move is fraught with complexities and risks. The decision to engage in direct military action is not taken lightly, as it involves numerous strategic, political, and humanitarian considerations. A direct attack on Iran's nuclear facilities would be a massive undertaking, with no guarantee of success. The logistics alone are daunting, requiring precise coordination and execution to avoid catastrophic failure. Iran has hardened and dispersed its nuclear sites, making them difficult to target effectively. These facilities are often buried deep underground or located in densely populated areas, complicating any potential strike. Furthermore, any attack would likely trigger a fierce Iranian response. The immediate aftermath could see significant retaliation, not just against military targets, but potentially civilian areas as well. Iran possesses a substantial ballistic missile arsenal capable of striking Israel. These missiles can reach deep into Israeli territory, posing a significant threat to both military and civilian infrastructure. They could also unleash their proxies in the region, leading to a multi-front war that would be costly and protracted. Groups like Hezbollah and other militias could open new fronts, stretching Israel's military resources thin. The international community would likely condemn an Israeli attack. Such an action could be seen as an escalation, destabilizing the already volatile Middle East region. It could also fracture relations with key allies like the United States, who advocate for diplomacy. The diplomatic fallout could isolate Israel on the global stage, making it harder to garner support for future initiatives. Such an attack could also backfire, rallying international support for Iran and undermining Israel's position. Instead of weakening Iran, it might strengthen its resolve and bolster its alliances. The stakes are high, and the potential consequences are severe, forcing Israel to weigh its options carefully. Every possible outcome must be considered, from immediate military repercussions to long-term geopolitical shifts. The decision to act or not to act carries profound implications for the future of the region and beyond. The United States plays a pivotal role in the Israel-Iran standoff. As Israel's staunchest ally, the US provides them with significant military and diplomatic support. This backing emboldens Israel and shapes its calculus when dealing with Iran. US military aid, intelligence sharing and joint military exercises bolster Israel's capabilities. This support is crucial for Israel, allowing them to maintain a qualitative military edge in the region. Furthermore, the US provides diplomatic cover for Israel in international forums, shielding them from criticism and sanctions. However, the relationship is not without its tensions. The US has often pursued a different approach to Iran, favoring diplomacy and sanctions over military action. This difference in approach has sometimes led to friction between the two allies. Despite these disagreements, the US remains a critical factor in the equation, and their stance significantly influences the dynamics between Israel and Iran.